We're going to go into some examples of my time blocking schedule and kind of pick it apart and look at it together. Does anybody have anything to add to this?
I do.
Go ahead.
So I wrote on the board here, hopefully you guys can see this from afar, but it just says 100%. So we have 100% of things to do for the day. There's an 80-20 rule in pretty much everything in life, but if you look at the 80-20 rule from a time management, time blocking, and prioritization standpoint, 80% of the stuff that we actually have to do doesn't create the actual result of what we're going to try to accomplish. If it's a sales metric, it's always that way. There's 20% of what we need to do is what actually creates a sales result. So this would be like lead gen and talking with customers and actually working with them in the field, and then like signing contracts and doing emails and doing other kind of repetitive, mundane tasks. That's going to be the 80% that sometimes this is what I would call is busy work, and this is productive work. Right? So we always want to take our day and focus on the stuff that's productive. One of the big benefits of time blocking is you can wake up and work all day long and do something. But if you don't know what you're working towards or for, you can get done at the end of the day and you didn't achieve anything. So if we have time block times where we know specifically, so for like Elizabeth has time block times where I'm doing listings input during this window. If she does her job during that window, she knows that she's going to have something accomplished by the end of the day. Or if she had no time block, she could start to input a listing. One of you call her and says, can you do this for me? And then she gets tapered off and goes and does that. And then she goes over here and somebody else asks her a question. And then the mailman comes and drops something off there. And then she's like, oh, where was I at? All right, I'm going to get back into that listing that I was doing 30 minutes ago. And now I have to remember everything that I had to do, where I was at. Did I save it? Oh my goodness, everything I did was gone. And that's what happens in the real world if we don't go, this is my priority, this is why I'm time blocking. All right, so next up.
So I'm going to look at an example of time blocking and start to walk you through and pick apart mine. That's what I was doing, Alyssa. I emailed you my copy so you can share it with the folks out there.
So we're going to be pulling up an example of what a time block schedule actually looks like. So just want to make sure that you guys are all aware. In your Google Drive, inside of there's a folder called the Network Real Estate Agents. You all have access to that. Inside of that is a time blocking tool example that looks very much like this tool that you see on the screen. And I don't know if you have it as well. Great. So this tool just goes over, this is the actual time block. So Dane, was this one yours?
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay. So this is the time block calendar that we have available for you guys to use at any time and just fill out on your own leisurely. And we're going to spend some time doing that today. But this is Dane's schedule, so I'll let you talk about your life, and I'll let you make sure that you look at this and you're like, I go to the gym every day at 6 a.m. and I've been doing that ever since I've been working within Network Real Estate.
So I'm laughing now because I made the comment that I do the things I don't like to do first, which is go to the gym, apparently shower, eat breakfast, and spend time with my kids. So a little bit of an edit there, Alyssa, when you get a minute. But this is how I start my day, right? These are my intentions, and that's what we're going to talk a little bit about, right? Some of you will be able to look at this and say, that's not what you do. Well, it's not what I do 100% of the time, right? And when you create your schedule, it's not what you're going to do 100% of the time either. But I want to take you through some of these categories, what they mean to me, and kind of define things like open time and things like that, okay? So again, let's walk through my Monday. I should be at the gym by 6 a.m. I have to be home eating breakfast and getting the kids off to school. Most important time to me every morning is my 8 to 8:30. This is my drive to work where I have or my 8 to 9, where I have drive to work. I'm alone, I get to listen to my audiobook, and then I get to my desk and I start by writing my 2 personal notes, right? I've encouraged a lot of you to get in that habit as well. From there, I typically go into some form of meeting, whether it's a one-on-one or a management meeting, right? By 10 o'clock, we have our team meeting. You guys are all there as well. I have a calendar very similar that I'm going to be handing out to you guys today. I've blocked the national calls and the team meetings on your calendar already, okay, like a free space, so that you know that that's blocked for you, and you can fill in later today. We'll work on it together as a team, and we'll fill in our own time blocking schedule. So from there, you see we go into the national call. I have lunch. Again, that's just kind of something fun to put on the calendar. Don't obviously take a ton of lunches, but then I have categories, okay? And here's where it starts to get fun because some of these things have been dictated for me, right? But what I love is the space where I'm choosing what to do, okay? And there's a lot more of it than you realize, okay? So at 1 o'clock, I start to do things. I have options. I can meet with Josh one-on-one. I can do an onboarding. I can get together with ALC. By 3 o'clock, I know that if I don't start getting into recruiting or prepping for my afternoon or finding a time to shoot a video with Alyssa, other people are going to be looking for me, right? Here is the secret I have learned when using this time block tool. It doesn't take me that amount of time to do these things, okay? That's something very important when you're building your own schedule. It doesn't take me from 1 to 3 to do onboarding or meet with Josh one-on-one or speak to the ALC, right? But I have to give a window, just like when we're scheduling appointments, right? In this business, we have to give a window. We will grow very frustrated. Dan and I do this a lot with his one-on-ones, if you don't mind me sharing, with Dan's coaching, is we don't stick to, I have to do this at 9 and I have to do this at 10. This guide and roadmap gives us those intentions, right? So if I start something at 9, maybe I finish at 9:50, maybe I finish at 10:10, but at least I know what's next. And what can't happen, because I've allowed the time and extra time, I can't miss the next thing, right? I can't miss something else crucial in my day. I could be early to it. I might start it later than I intended, but it's going to get done. Does that make sense? Any questions about that piece? I think a lot of people had a hard time with, gosh, how do I know I'm going to do that at 3 o'clock? You don't. What you do know is that it has to be done in the afternoon, between 1 and 3, right? Does that make sense? That allows me some flexibility in my schedule. You will see, this is my whole schedule. So we have things on here like out in the field. Field work to me is being on showings and listing appointments, family time, my gym, listening to books. Again, we laugh, showers on there. I probably would forget if my phone didn't ding and tell me to do that.
I promise you I'd remind you.
Thank you. But what I want Josh to talk about, as we have my schedule up here as a reference, is our company has allowed us a structure and a model to help us build a calendar. So I want you to go into that. I'm going to get the handout and start passing it out to them. Okay?
Thank you. So when Dane first came over to our company, and we sat down with him and all of our management team, I've done this with every one of them, said, I want a time block schedule from you so I know where you want to be. And I've given them mine as well. And it's helpful because we can hold each other accountable at times for, hey, you were supposed to be in this meeting in 5 minutes, or 10 minutes ago you were supposed to be in that meeting and so-and-so is waiting for you, or whatever it may be. And it allows us to be able to stay on track. And if you can share that with multiple people, the more people that you have that know your schedule and know what's going on, the better off you're going to be at sticking to your routines, because it's like anything else. I'm committed in life by myself to do it. However, if I have other people around me helping me, so I had a meeting yesterday with Michael Hallback, and him and I
eyeballing you.
Yeah, I was a little late for that. But Tony knew my schedule, and I was in another meeting, and he went in and said, "Hey, you have a meeting with Mike right now," and I don't know if you know this, and I ran over. And unintentionally, but I was in a meeting which I thought was about 20 minutes. Well, I was in there for 48 minutes. And sometimes time gets away from you, and that just happens. But if you follow your schedule, if you have your reminders in there, and if you're thankful to have people around you that will support you in those endeavors, it'll really help. So when I set up my time block, I always go back to what is Keller Williams' culture and vision, and who we are as a company in general. God, family, and business. Right? 3 things. God's first, family second, business is third. Now, some people have their own different religious beliefs and how they want to handle their systems, and some people have no beliefs towards that, and that's for you. But I fill in that time for myself, and we have on here a Monday through Friday calendar, but I have myself Monday through Sunday because there's certain things that I do. I meet with my church on Wednesdays at 10, typically, every single week, and in the summer it's every 3 weeks. So I put that in my calendar for me because that's important for my life. And then I have my family time that's in there. And so I have made some arrangements with my significant other, my wife, who sat down and I said, these are the time frames I'm going to be home. I'm going to commit to you that I'm going to get home at these time frames. And once in a while, I get home a little bit late, and sometimes I get home a little bit earlier. But she knows roughly when I'm going to be home, and that's helped our relationship set a level of expectation, right, on what you can expect from somebody, and then they can actually follow through with that. And then obviously from a business standpoint, there's certain things that we know that we need to do on a daily basis or a weekly basis, and if we don't put it in the calendar, then it doesn't exist. Yeah, if it's not in the calendar, it definitely doesn't exist. So you want to make sure it's on here. So family time is super important for me. That's just how I am. And I believe it should be super important for you guys. So it needs to be on your calendar. Now I can tell you, it probably doesn't make sense for you to have on your calendar though, family time at 10 a.m. Locally here on Monday mornings, right? Because we have a meeting. So family time can go into that space on rare occasion, like we have a doctor's appointment, it's super important. My wife and I got pregnant and I'm going to that ultrasound, right? Okay, that makes sense.
Is that an announcement?
No. I think we're good. Lord, please help me. That was definitely not as I hope it was
Okay.
not. But if it was, it'll be another blessing, or 2 or 3. And then in here, Dane has on here only a couple of times, which is open time. So I think in a given week you have, looks like 90 minutes of total, another hour there. So Dane has about 2.5 hours of just open time. Now open time doesn't mean that I'm just going to do nothing. I'm just going to stare at the wall, right? It just means that I have flexibility now. I can plug other things into there, because what will happen is you will set an appointment with someone else. Like Dane will call me and say, hey, Monday it's at 1 o'clock. I'm going to meet with so-and-so, so I want to move can we move our one-on-one? Can we move it maybe over to his open time on Tuesday at 1 o'clock, so we can just, you guys are going to get really familiar with this. You're going to erase what you were supposed to do, and you're going to replace it somewhere else and move something in. So if you,
Sorry.
go right ahead.
So I want to show you guys real life example, because you see me running around and you guys are living the same lifestyle I am with the clients and all these commitments. The open time to me does a couple of things. Just as Josh was starting to paint a picture of, if I don't get to something, I can move it to my open time and know it's still going to get done, right? It doesn't go undone, and it's not disturbing something else. That's the biggest thing I see in our industry, or anybody that's self-employed. We have that entrepreneurial spirit, and we'll work till it's done. Problem is, it'll never be done, right? We talked about that. So when you take something, it's now a blessing and something that can be a relief to you when you have this open time. When you're building your schedule, keep that in mind, okay? You have to have that open time. The other thing that we've talked about, and I've spent a lot of time talking to Cindy and Dan Mikowski about this, Dan's closed 24 transactions already this year, trying to get out of town for the year, or for 3 weeks, felt like a year.
You were gone for a year.
So
I can tell, look at that man.
What it takes and what you have to start to do is, when you know where you're supposed to be next and you have your time blocking, this has become such a gift to me, because if somebody cancels, has anybody ever had a client cancel on them, a showing, or, I have an appointment tonight, they canceled on me, right? So
We have a meeting following this meeting that he was not allowed to be at, but it looks like his time just opened up and we can fill it in, right?
So anyways, so what I'm getting at though is it becomes a blessing. It truly is, right? Now someone cancels on you, it doesn't screw up your day, we're not mad. When somebody cancels on me, I'm like, whew, thank goodness, right? Because I have something to do, I have other intentions, I have something. It's not a waste of a day, it doesn't throw my whole day off. I've seen that look on your guys' face. We've had that in a one-on-one discussion where somebody canceled on you and it ruined your whole day, right? This will allow that to not happen, right? Go ahead.
So, by show of hands, or can you, anybody, I don't even know how to say this, anybody on Zoom, you can thumbs up to or whatever you need.
We need a buzzer.
I know, it'd be great.
They can raise their hand on there.
Yeah.
So you need to
So-
watch the screen.
I'm watching.
Has anyone ever, by maybe a significant other, a spouse, or even a friend or family member, been like, man, now that you're in real estate, you've been working late, or you've been working a lot, or maybe you missed something here or there. Anybody ever have that happen to them? Okay, right? It's common. That does happen. Sometimes you have to, be there for the customer, like, oh, I'm working late today, or they want to go see a house at 6 o'clock, and all of a sudden you're in the driveway and you're like talking at 7. You're like, okay, it's 7:30. Like, we already saw the house. Can we wrap this up somehow? But you're being polite. You're making sure that you're giving the service that they want. And all of a sudden you're getting home at 7:45, but you thought you were going to be home at 7.
Oh, that happens.
Yeah, that happens, right? Right. So when we get these opportunities in life to where all of a sudden we have a cancellation, we should take a look at our calendar and see, what do I got to do tomorrow or the next day or whatever it may be, because you can get some benefits by being able to get some things done in advance that allows to free up your time for the next day, because then you can go home early a day, or you can pop in for lunch or surprise somebody at their place of employment and just take them out to lunch, whatever it may be. So a lot of the time blocking for me is about how can I get more time with my family, but also make sure that I'm protecting the business at the